Tom, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. What did you make of the King's address?
Well, it was absolutely superb. It defied any criticism whatsoever. And he won many hearts and settled many doubts in that speech. It was carefully written, clearly and prepared many, many months ago for this sad eventuality. I mean, I think what was most important of all was that he tried his hardest to put the doubters at ease, all those who fear because of his 50-year-long activities and controversies that he wouldn't be an impartial constitutional king, were reassured by his words that he understood that he now had a very different role in the world and had to abandon controversy and outspokenness. I think particularly important for churchgoers is that he did mention that he is the leader and a follower of the Anglican Church, which, of course, he challenged himself when he said he would be the defender of faith some years ago. So, it was a politically correct, it was emotional, passionate, sincere. No one could not have been moved by it.
What did you make of earlier on in the day when King Charles arrived at Buckingham Palace and he had what seemed like a rather impromptu trip across the railings to look at all the flowers that had been laid, which turned into almost him being amongst his subjects, amongst the people. He even got a big kiss from one of the people who was attended there. But he seemed to be in his element. He seemed to be comfortable. He seemed to be reassured and reassuring to those who were there.
Well, Charles does nothing without calculation. Mm-hmm. He's an astute politician, an astute observer of the past. If he can be the people's king, that would be a terrific achievement for him. He knows very well that he has been criticized in the past for being aloof. But on the other hand, he has spent 50, 60 years just shaking hands and meeting people and being remarkably successful all over the world at listening and greeting and reassuring and smiling and all the rest. So what happened in front of Buckingham Palace was, to some extent, business as usual. What was exceptional was that his mother had died just a day earlier, and it was clearly very emotional for him. But he's very keen on the optics. He knows that he's got to establish his reign. He is a student of history. He wants to make his mark on history. He wants to be remembered, not as the son of the Queen and the transition just to his son, but he wants to be remembered as Charles III, who made a difference to the world and to Britain. So it was terrific for him to have that opportunity to start the reign, so to speak, with those pictures and with those people. If he can carry on like that, then he will be a successful monarch.
Do you think that he is taking on this role that he's been waiting all his life to step into at a difficult time? Already there are some articles that have been written in papers and in today's Times, of course, that it's a tricky time, not only for Scotland being part of the Union, but of course Australia as well, even though they had a referendum and chose to stay within the Commonwealth. But for example, today, one of the articles in the Times, Republicans down under sense change in the air. Do you think that is going to be part of his top list, his top priorities, how to keep the Commonwealth, if not just the Union, together?
Well, yes, I hope so. But as I described in my book, The Rebel Prince, up to 2017, I think it was, he was completely uninterested in the Commonwealth. And he had to be bullied and cajoled not to just visit the white Commonwealth countries, but also Africa and the Pacific Islands. He only went to white Commonwealth countries in India, especially the other one, because he liked the food there and he liked picking through the archaeology. So he has never been a natural Commonwealth person until the New Zealand Secretary General, a man called McKinnon, persuaded the government and the Queen that they had to bully Charles to take an interest in the Commonwealth. So let us be in no doubt that it is a very difficult moment for the Commonwealth. And I think he has now learnt how to work the system. I'm not sure whether Baroness Scotland is really the right person for him to work through. But he has, in the last few years, been to many African countries. He has been visiting the Commonwealth, and he understands the importance. It hasn't been made easier for him by Meghan Markle's allegations of racism, which then rebounded on William and Kate when they visited the Caribbean recently. And they have sort of started this move to become republics. But he's doing his best. He starts with a lot of goodwill, but it won't be easy. But I do think you've got to make a distinction between those countries like Australia, possibly will go republic, but I always think it's exaggerated, and the Commonwealth itself. Countries are joining the Commonwealth in Africa, Rwanda, Mozambique, because it's such a fantastic organization, quarter of the world's population. So, he's working for a successful organization, and hopefully he will espouse it and work even harder to bring it together as his mother did.
Now, as we mentioned, you're the author of The Rebel Prince, but you're also the author of Revenge, Meghan, Harry and the War Between the Windsors. Now, it was very much noted that in the King's speech yesterday at 6 p.m, he did reach out to Harry and Meghan by extending their love to them and wishing them the best. He says the love for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex as they continue to build their lives overseas. A lot of people are saying that's been seen as some sort of olive branch towards Harry and Meghan. What did you make of those comments?
Well, he can't offer them an olive branch because he hasn't done anything wrong. All his attempts for reconciliation have been snubbed by their interviews and by their behavior. He included them because he wants some sort of safeguard. There's no doubt that the Sussexes are a time bomb on his reign. Harry's autobiography, which my guess is will come out before Christmas, is destined to cause huge trouble. It can't sell without Harry repeating and exaggerating and adding to all the venom he's already spewed over the past couple of years, or ever since the Oprah Winfrey interview a year ago. So Charles is fighting, in my view, a losing game against Harry and Meghan because they are uncontrollable and their fortunes are tied up entirely with sensationalizing their experiences as part of the Windsor family. So I thought that yesterday's was just a throwaway. He had to say something. He didn't mean a thing.